Welcome, everybody, to the KQ Show instructional guide for your listening pleasure. For those new to the show, hi, my name's Kyle. I'm just like everyone else. I wake up, build a small cottage out of corn dog sticks, and then I start my day. As a young lad, I had what my parents would call the gift of gab. I love conversations, and I love to hear people's stories. I surround myself with positive and creative people that have helped me structure who I am today. And now I want to tell their stories. Episode 2 brings us talking with a high school coach. I'll be talking with assistant cross-country coach Justin Hamburg. I've known Justin now for 25 years. We take a deep look at how being disciplined and relentless helped Justin through being a teen parent, the Iraqi War, and how it also helped him pave his financial future. Really hope you enjoy the episode, and please share with your friends. KQ Show. Welcome, everyone, to episode 2 of the KQ Show. This episode is brought to you by Fun Food. Is your blood pumping too much? Do you ever wish your heart could skip a beat? Then try Fun Food's new deep-fried jalapeno elephant ear wrapped in their famous personal pan pizza and covered in Fun Food's secret ranchero sauce. Only at participating locations. Our guest today, it's a biggin'. A Mishawaka high school graduate, Iraqi war veteran, holds 2 college degrees, USA track and field certified coach, married 10 years this August, father of a soon-to-be 20-year-old daughter, a Dodge Neon enthusiast, published author, host of Crypto for Kids, and currently the assistant coach of the Mishawaka High School cross-country team, and damn it, one of my best friends for almost 25 years. Ladies and gentlemen, Justin Hamburg.
Wow. Hey, that was pretty nice. I like that.
Yeah, you know.
Jeez. I know. Now I know how Sergio felt.
Yeah. I barely know anything about you. I just had your wife send me everything. No, I'm
Fun food. You went way far back for fun food. Oh my
God. I love it. I almost popped in there and come see Justin, Billy, and Curtis. But I wasn't sure how many of you even worked there at the time.
I want an elephant here now. Jeez, Fun Food. I still have those signs.
Yeah?
Yep. I was driving past Fun Food when they were tearing the signs down like 10 years ago or something. And I pulled over and I said, "Hey, are you just going to throw these away?" And they said, "Yeah." And I was like, "Well, can I take them?"
Can I scoop them?
So I put them in my garage at the first house.
Well, that's pretty bad.
And I still have it, so.
I really think you should know my first question. It's been 20 years. Where's my Tupac CD?
Oh, coming on the show, I thought, what is Kyle going to bring up? There are so many stories that we could talk about, but the Tupac CD, the greatest hits, right? The double album?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We both thought we were bald. I'm in my Civic. We drive right next to each other, swap CDs,
Yeah,
like
hey.
we're badasses, put it in.
We both had the same CD.
Dude, it was like 2 songs later, I'm like, track 4 still Hail Mary? Yeah, I think we messed up here.
Oh, dude, this is nice. I like this. This is nice setup you got here. It's good to be on. I really enjoyed episode 1 with Sergio. You know, I learned so much about him.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Stuff that I never knew. I've known him for 20 years. I had no idea that he came from Venezuela. He didn't speak English, or he took English as a second language, and that he was so young when he was in high school and all that. So anyway, I texted him afterwards, and I was like, "Wow, that was fantastic."
Yeah.
He said, "Yeah, it's weird to hear my own voice."
Yeah,
so I'm kind of curious as to how I'll sound too.
No, when I think about people that I wanted to have on, obviously, we've known each other for almost 25 years. I think based on when Deep Blue Sea hit Blockbuster for
yes.
So but
fall of it was 97 or 98.
Yeah. So I Googled it. We didn't do the math right at all.
Oh, we didn't?
No. Yeah. So Deep Blue Sea came out 2 years later.
What? No.
Yeah, Deep Blue Sea was 99.
Really?
And I put down that maybe we found out that's when it came on VHS, maybe.
I don't know.
Well, no, why would it? Yeah, because it was October 12th, 98, I think.
Really?
Yeah, yep. I think it's when you
I don't think I had a license yet.
Or no, you had Corey drive in. Yeah, you guys showed up at my door and were outside for being awkward for a solid 20 minutes.
15 or 16 years old, I mean.
Oh, man.
Doesn't seem like that long ago. I mean, on the calendar you look, and you got to flip back many, many years, but I don't feel that far removed from being a teenager.
Well, I mean, you've upgraded your shoes a bit.
Why do you always bring up my shoes?
Because you wore
one time.
They were like 17s and tied till they were touching.
That's not true at all.
I've never seen another human tie their shoes to where the things were touching.
Had to keep them on.
you said it fell off the back of a truck.
No, a guy I was working with was like, "Hey man, I got all these shoes." I was like, "Show me the shoes."
Yeah, let's hop in this truck. Show me the shoes.
And he had a pair. I was like, I kind of like those. So I bought a pair, and they just happened to be a little bit too big. Now here we are, 24, 25 years later.
Folks.
Talking about it. Give it up. God. Episode 2.
Yeah, just
I didn't quite make it for episode 1, huh? I didn't crawl through enough adversity like Sergio did.
You're right.
Episode 2.
Listen, you can't be,
Sergio pumps me up, man.
No, dude, it was good. I had 15 hours I listened to his voice doing that edit. 15 hours. Yeah,
Sergio and I talk to each other once every 4 years. And it'll always be perfect timing. I think the last time we spoke, just out of nowhere, I get up in the morning, I'm having my coffee, I'm trying to get ready for a run. Sometimes you're not motivated for the run, you're kind of looking for motivation. I open my phone. Oh, Sergio put a snap down. And the snap is just of him, and he's like, "Hey, let's attack today." And I'm like, "Let's go, Sergio."
Obviously, I've known you for almost 25 years. But a lot of people might not. So, I mean, what's new in your life? What's happening?
Well, as you said, I'm a high school running coach. I'm assistant coach for the Mishawaka High School boys cross country team. That is in the fall. In the spring, which is what was coming up, winter and spring, we focus on track. So I'm also an assistant coach for the boys track team, and I specialize in the long distance runners, which are the same runners as the cross country teams. So we are we're getting ready for our first meet, which is Wednesday. It's against Penn. I'm excited because we do have a lot of good runners on the team this year. There's a culture shift happening in the distance world. Yeah. And it's completely spearheaded by some of the younger classmen, sophomores and juniors. So I'm very excited to see what happens this year.
Nice.
And so other than that, it really consumes most of my time. We're there Monday through Saturday. And distance running takes a long time because some of these boys are running 40, 50, 60 miles a week. And we got to do that. We have to do that at practice. And so if they're running 10 miles in one day, that's most of the practice. The sprinters have come and gone by then. The throwers have come and gone. The jumpers have come and gone or already done their workout I've already done it. But the distance boys and girls over on the girls' side, but I mean, they're doing the warm up, they're doing the strength workout, and then they're going out for a 60 to 90 minute run and coming back and doing it the next day. It takes a long time, but with running, the more that you do it, the better you get. And I don't want to say more miles makes you a better athlete, but more miles makes you a better athlete. So the hardest part of coaching high school long distance running is just keeping the runners motivated and wanting to do it. So it's nice to see that they want to do it.
When I think about you, I think of you're always coaching and training and developing people without really even noticing it. And really, when I describe you, it's disciplined and relentless would be like the best way I could describe you, because everything that you do, you kind of attack it in that way. You've obviously proven it to be successful. So tell me a little about what, or who instilled that drive.
Is this what it's going to be? You're going to ask me these thought-provoking questions?
You're right. And I'm going to leave and go lay out in the sun.
I thought I was going to come on here and just rant about everything.
We'll get to the ranting.
I hope so. I got a lot of problems with you people. You're going to hear about it.
God damn.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be a Festivus approach. Okay, well, I became a father at age 18. And as soon as that happened, everything changed. Now, I had known for months that I was going to have a baby. But it wasn't until she was born that I realized, oh, gosh, okay, let's clock in. And I've been on the clock ever since. So she'll be 20 in April. This is going to be her golden birthday, the 20th. She'll turn 20 on the 20th. And it's been a wild ride, and I don't know where all the time went. I've been so busy for so long, but maybe that's why I still feel young, because it seems it went by very, very fast. But looking at a baby that's yours, and you have to take care of it, there really wasn't another option, So I'm 18, I'm working at Martin's, and I had graduated high school, and everybody had talked about what it's like to have a baby, and they even give you a book, what to expect when you're expecting, and what it's going to be like the first couple of months. Now, I was preparing for a baby. I did not prepare for a toddler. I did not prepare for a 12-year-old, and I definitely didn't prepare for a high school teenager and now college student. So it just seems like every day every new chapter brings its own struggles, but also kind of motivates you. So for me, when Abby was 1, she turned 2 when I was away at basic training. So when Abby was 1, I had just gotten my first apartment, and I thought that I'd made it. I lived at Irish Hills, and I had cable, and I had
that was a big stepping stone.
I had a 32-inch flat screen Toshiba. Weighed like 400 pounds on the 3rd floor. But I'd made it. But I moved in October or November of 2003, and by January, I was already behind on bills. You and I were talking about this the other day, but no one prepared us to be financially independent after we graduated. So I was behind on bills pretty quickly. I worked at Martin's on McKinley, and across the street was the recruitment office for the armed forces. So I drove by it every day, and having a 1-year-old and being 19 and working and staring down the next a couple decades of what it's going to look like. And I figured it would be beneficial for me to just take one big giant leap. So I went into that recruitment office one day on my lunch break, and I told them about what I wanted to do, and they said, you're in luck. We are accepting. And so this was the first part of 2004. We had just gone to war with Iraq in 2003, March of 2003. The war in Afghanistan had been going on for 2 years. So they were accepting new enlisted soldiers. So I went away there, and when I was at basic training, that was completely different than anything I had ever done before. First of all, you're thrown into an environment that is completely foreign. You're stripped of everything. And I mean everything. You put everything that you have in a bag, and then they lock it up. Well, at least back then. But they put everything in a bag, and they lock it up, and you don't see it. It's it. You got a green shirt. You got some BDUs back then, and some boots, and everything that you do for the next X many weeks or months is planned and out of your control. Honestly, it was kind of nice having all of my decisions made for me.
I got you.
But also, I knew that I was changing as a person. So my attention to detail came from the Army. It also helps that my parents are very, very organized and routine. So it was kind of like you got a guy who spent the last 18 or 19 years growing up in a household which was very much in order. And then you go to the military, and that just amplifies that. Gotcha. And since I came back from basic training, my entire life has been regimented, and it's just gotten more and more. I've improved every year on how I operate as an individual, and it's all due to the Army. Now, my wife's the same way. So when we got together and we moved in together, there was no big culture shock. She's the exact same way as I am. So that's just how I am. So I attack the day, right, Sergio? I attack everything. Yeah. Everything. And I kind of give it the hug of death. So if I get into a new hobby, oh my gosh, I'm so into that hobby until I exhaust everything that I can do. And that's why running is so great, because there is no end. There's no I've finished, right? You can finish a race, but you can improve on it. You can do better.
Right.
You can, not only can you do better in the actual race, but you can improve your preparation for it. And that will often put you in a better place to succeed. So, and then it's, okay, so I've kind of mastered the 5K, right? No, let me try the 10K. There's a new race. There's always a new race, and there's always a new course. And then the conditions change. Okay, I did it, and it was sunny and 75 last time I did it. Now it's snowy and it's 15.
Yeah.
So it's same course, but different conditions. So it's ever changing, and there's no way to, in my eyes, there's no way to check that off the list and say, okay, I've exhausted everything I can do in running.
I gotcha.
So that's a hobby that I've thoroughly enjoyed for years now. I started when I was 33, kind of late in life.
What got you to run? What happened? I mean, because again, I'm not saying you were, unhealthy or anything, but you were probably in like one of the.
I was unhealthy.
Okay, thank you for saying that.
I was very unhealthy.
You were terrible. I mean, I would laugh at you. No, I'm just kidding.
So right now,
what
I am
got you jumped
45
in?
pounds lighter than I was when I started running. Yeah.
You were 45 pounds heavier than you are right now?
Yes.
Where were you keeping it?
It's all in my midsection.
Yeah. very feminine hipster at that time.
No, it's all, so on my dad's side, 6 to 12 males. They're all 6 foot or above. My dad's 6 foot. Every one of my cousins, they're tall. On my mom's side, I'm the only grandson. And my grandfather was 5'9". I am 5'9". And I have the exact same body structure. So I could kind of see my future. And I knew that if I didn't make a change, then I was going to keep gaining weight because I was so comfortable, man. I had knee surgery and I was down for a month. And this was kind of a perfect storm of everything. Jamie and I had gotten married in 2012, so then the comfort weight comes. And then I had knee surgery in the beginning of 2013, and I couldn't do anything for a month. So I'm just down there on the couch, laying there, eating food, doing nothing. But that was 2013, and it still took me like 2 or 3 years because I did that whole thing to where you get a gym membership and then you go gung-ho for 2 months.
Oh, yeah.
And then every once in a while I get on the treadmill and do cardio because they say it's good to do cardio. So I would do a mile and I would think that was a good, 9-minute workout, 10-minute workout. Like, oh, I really earned that cigarette on the way home. So I made a complete lifestyle change. I started running. I started eating better. I'm not saying I started eating a great diet. I just started eating better and eating less and drinking less. And everything just started to kind of come together. I used to buy all these things that I thought would help my knees not hurt when I'm running. Turns out I was just heavy. So I just needed to run more and lose the weight. So I lost it all, and now I run and I feel great. I like to see what works for me and how good of an athlete can I become? How healthy can I become while also enjoying life a little bit here and there? So I'm not one of these strict, follow my macros to a T, no alcohol, no junk food. Oh man, I love double cheeseburgers, triple if I can, if they have them. Sometimes they say they don't have them. You have them. Yeah. Tell Lucy Justin's here.
She'll know what to do. And if I find one pickle on here,
dude.
What's your biggest so far? Because I know you probably have extensive running goals, but what's your biggest goal you set for running and you hit and just you loved it?
The sub 5-minute mile, baby. Last year, my fastest mile that I had ever run in my entire life was a 5:07, and that was at basic training. I had 4 months of strict dieting, nonstop physical exercise, no toxins, nothing. So at the end of that 4 months, I ran a 5:07, and I was like, wow, that's quick. So I'd finished like third overall, and I was like, wow, I'm kind of good at this. And I had always wanted to beat it. And so that was when I was age 21, and it took me 17 years to beat that. My goal was to not only beat that, but run a sub 5-minute mile. So I had actually been running every single day on a run streak that I began on January 1st of 2020. I ran every single day of 2020. And then when 2021 came around, I thought, I'm just going to keep it rolling.
Yeah.
So I got up to 592 days in a row before I had to drop out due to injury. But on my 500th day in a row, I told the head coach at Mishawaka during practice that I wanted to try the 5-minute mile.
Yeah.
They were all ready for it. They knew that I was targeting it at some point. So I told the varsity team, hey, I need you guys to pace me. I took 2 guys on the first lap. I said, I just want to do 75, hit 75. I took 2 guys on the second lap. Hey, I want to hit 75. We hit 75. Kind of, plus or minus. Actually, I was under. And then the third lap, which is the hardest, I had two more. One was one of our athletes, and another one was one of the other assistant coaches. He did the third lap with me. And then for the fourth lap, which I came through at 3:45 after 3 laps, right? And that's right on pace. That's a minute 15, a minute 15, a minute 15. All I needed to do was kick in the last lap. So I had every single one of them that had paced me join on the fourth lap, and ended up running a 4:57, kicked it in the last bit, and did that. And that was a very big goal of mine, as it's, as far as I can tell, and I've only been coaching a couple years, that's the line in the sand for high school runners. I mean, the first line. Are you going to run a sub-5 mile for distance? Can you run sub-5 mile? And most people that can't target that as there. So I wanted to do that. But the cool thing about that was when I got done, everybody's congratulating me and all, whatever. One of the news stations was there. They were there to interview a couple of the athletes. So they had the camera. They filmed the whole thing.
Oh, for real?
Yes. And then she sent me the whole thing edited. So she sent me a copy of it. Now I have the whole thing on camera.
That's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
How long does it take to watch? So what you're saying is like that when, like the other day when I got out there and I got right around 14 minutes for a mile, you're saying
good,
that's
good, man.
Okay, so that's right in the range.
You're out there. Okay. Yes.
All right.
Keep doing it again. So that was my goal. 5 minutes. Now, like I said, you've got different races, or different distances. I would like to break 4:57. I'm not in shape to do it right now. I would like to hit the 16s for a 5K. If I can get under 17.
Oh, under 17.
Yeah. I just want 16 something. 3.1 maybe. 3.1.
No, that's you. So what do you think it's going to take then?
Well, I haven't been able to run much the last 6 weeks due to a lower left leg injury. I came back and ran 5 miles today. Boosted my confidence,
nice.
So I think I might be back. But it would take me probably till the end of the year to work up enough endurance back again and speed work to be able to do that. Yeah. Okay. So I ran.
Because you normally do I remember when you were doing these, you were always pretty much top, right?
Yeah. The last race that I ran was the Niles Buchanan YMCA Turkey Trot on Thanksgiving. First in my age group there. So, and I ran like an 18 something. Wow. I think. I don't know. Maybe that. No, yeah. Like an 18.
It was cold as all get out that day, too.
It was cold.
Windy. How long do you think it's going to be? I mean, do you have I know you have some spreadsheets you're already working on.
Everything has to go perfectly.
Yeah. So give me a time frame when you can break this record.
What, the 5K? The 5K record? Yeah, it would have to be this fall. It would have to be after a summer and fall of running with the cross country boys for me to be able to do that. Now, that's what I'm trying to do. So if I can get myself healthy again, as far as, my old bones. People don't know what cross country is, first of all. When I started coaching, I didn't know. Unless you ran cross country in high school or you are a parent of a child who runs cross country, chances are you do not know what cross country is. So let me just summarize it real quick. Cross country in Indiana, as far as high school athletics go, is a 3.1 mile race, which is a 5K, 5,000 meters. And it is done off the track. A course can be on grass, it can be dirt, it can be gravel, part of it can be concrete, it can be on water, it can be on sand. It's just all different types of terrain.
There's a 5K on water.
Well, I mean, you're crossing streams.
Okay.
And yeah.
Because I didn't know if sports had changed. Yeah, you get your electric flippers.
You're jumping over. On some courses, not all courses have water, but some courses have water. Typically, you've got 7 kids from each team. and they're lined up all, and everybody runs at the same time. So if you've got 10 teams, you got 70 kids out there. If you got 20 teams, you've got 140 kids out there, and everybody's starting at once. They're all on this 100-meter chalk line, all lined up, ready to go. And like I said, you've got 7 of them. The top 5 of those 7, whatever their finishing place is, doesn't matter what their time is, whatever their finishing place is their score. So you add their scores up, and that is the team score. Just like golf, it's supposed to be lower score is better. So we're out there trying to condition a group of athletes to be able to be really, really tough.
Yeah.
And it is definitely my belief that cross-country and or distance athletes are the toughest athletes. I didn't say strongest. I didn't say can bench the most. I didn't say can squat the most or take a hit the hardest and keep going. I'm saying they get up every day, and no matter what's going on outside, they go log miles. If it's snowy, they're out logging miles. If it's cold, miles. Hot, miles.
Now, I don't want to, but I want to ask you, so this is proof because my brother used to run cross country. When those cats would cross that finish line, 80% of them,
dead.
Blah,
Yes.
yakking, throwing up, can't move. So I've never watched another sport that the ending looks like that.
There's no timeouts.
Yeah, there
are no timeouts.
Push to the limit, and then you're just. I mean, I have seen so much vomit out of people's faces in these races, but that's just pure.
Exactly, because if you think about it, varsity standard is 18:30. So if you can run 18:30, you're running 6 minutes flat.
And again, that's not on a track.
That is out
anywhere,
in the
woods.
element. Yes,
I got you.
You're going uphill. You're going up. Some courses have stairs. You can push your body for 18 minutes and 30 seconds, nonstop, with no timeouts, and you do it correctly at the end. If you time it right, you're going to collapse at the end for sure.
See the
jelly legs.
And man.
Yes, but that's why I say that they're the toughest, because they take that beating.
Yeah.
And like this morning, practice was canceled because it's 15 degrees and it's windy and it's snowy. I got a text from one of my senior captains, and they all went up to Indiana Beach and ran this morning.
That's badass right there.
10 miles for most of them, 13 for one of the seniors.
Well, tell me this, what got you into coaching?
I graduated from Mishawaka High School in 2001. I didn't come back, at least inside, until I interviewed for the job.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I mean, I was at the campus for one football game, I think in 2010 or 11. No, it's 2009, I think, when there was a big Mishawaka-Penn rivalry. And Mishawaka was actually making it a rivalry.
I went to that game with you.
Yes. Like 10 of us
I
went.
remember that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so that was the first time I had been back. So when I went to the interview, first of all, again, did not know what cross country was. I was on Wikipedia looking it up. I was like, wait a minute here. I went into the interview and he asked me the same question. He's like, why do you want to coach? You don't have a history of coaching. Why do you want to do this? And I said, honestly, I still live in the area. I go to restaurants. I go to the mall. I see the youth, the younger generations, and it pisses me off. Honestly, it's what I said.
Yeah.
And I said, and I instead of complaining about it at home, I'd like to at least try to make a difference. So when I go to Mishawaka to coach now, I see younger versions of me, but I try to give them everything that I thought at one point, why didn't anybody teach me this? Why didn't anybody tell me that? I would have been far better off if I would have just known, this. So I don't know how long I'm going to coach. Honestly, if I can no longer make an impact, a positive impact, or provide a positive image to the athletes, then I'll step away. But as I see it right now, there's not a lot of positivity in these guys' lives. But they're just so green and they're a blank canvas. And what's nice about it is that some of them will ask and listen, and then they will immediately implement what you tell them. So it's dangerous because you have to know what you're talking about. You have to have life experience. But then again, then I'll go into the restroom and go to wash my hands, and I'll look up in the mirror and I think, geez, I'm just one of these, I'm one of these kids.
So what do you do differently then when it comes to coaching?
So when I go to practice, I have a certain standard. If you don't meet the standard, then I will let you know. And we will work together to correct your actions until you're a positive contributing member to the team. Don't bring this negativity here. Don't bring our average down. When you come to practice, it's time to work. Practice starts at 3:30. We're rolling at 3:30. I expect you to be ready. And if I have you for 90 minutes or if I have you for 2 hours, the clock's running. So you should be prepared to work. And if you want your free time, you value your free time that much, then let's work together to get everything done so we can get out of here on time while also developing properly. So I'm a little more strict. And maybe it's partly because I'm still new and that I'm still like a young, fired up coach. Maybe later in life, if I'm still coaching in 5 years, then I will look back at myself and think like, oh my gosh, maybe I was a little too rough on them. But I can read the room. I know what's happening. And when I see some of these guys, they need to be told what's going to happen. And they need to be held to a standard. And I'm aware that I was in the Army, but this is not the Army. And they would say that sometimes. They're like, this isn't the Army. Like when I first started me coming out, instead of just watching, I started being vocal. Not only is it working, it's contagious, and that work ethic is now becoming the standard. Again, I'm the assistant coach. These are programs that are already in place. The head coach of the cross country team, he stresses that we judge you on your attitude and effort when you are at practice, and that makes or breaks a team. That team culture. If you don't want to be here, I'm not going to waste my time on you.
Right.
You need to want to be here, and we're building a culture right now where people want to be there.
Nice.
So if you were to say, what's your running goal? My goal would be to somehow make the Mishawaka Boys Distance Program a destination sport that kids want to come to Mishawaka and run so they can be a part of Caveman Distance. Now I won't be humble here. I'm not going to stop until we succeed.
That's that relentless side.
Exactly.
What's the biggest misconception in a coach?
That you're well funded.
Yeah.
that you have the resources that you need for everybody. Nothing is worse than when you promote your program and you say, yeah, come out and do this, and come out and do that, and come out and do this, and they show up and they don't have good running shoes, and they come from a house that cannot afford good running shoes, and you don't have any money in your fundraising account to provide for them. There are ways around some of that stuff, but some of these high school programs are just not funded.
Do you think there's a solution for it?
Yeah, I have big plans for the program. I don't want to get into too much detail here, but I would love to create a self-sustaining ecosystem for the team to where it was completely funded by donations from alumni. And it doesn't take much to provide for an entire cross-country team. They all need shoes, they all need uniforms, they all need socks, and they all need bags, and that's about it. We do have fundraisers every year, but my sights are a little bigger than that. I think that the fundraisers allow us to get by. I don't want to just get by.
Right.
I want it to be a premier program. We can't do that with the resources that we currently have.
Are you seeing more added to your talent pool? Like, are people going, hey, Mishawaka, is that what your end game is? Or are you seeing that start to happen now? Or what?
I want to make cuts. I want to get to the point where
Oh,
there
okay,
are
so right now
so
there
many.
is no cut. So you're
No,
just, okay,
yeah, we're begging. Hey, please come out and run distance. It's such a hard sell. It's not fun
It's the hardest. Yeah, it's
when you
wrong.
when you first start, and no one is watching. No one cares outside of the running world. No one cares. It's not like we're packing a stadium for people to watch us run 3,200 meters. It's an anticlimactic event to begin with. The mile's kind of fun, but all the other races are a lot more exciting. But especially for cross country, it's out in the grass. There are bugs. It might be raining. You have to run. If you come to watch your kid, you don't want to just watch them at the start line. They're running 3.1 miles. They're gone.
Yeah.
So you need to run to all these checkpoints. Jamie loves going and watching the cross country meets because the race will start and the runners will take off, and then all the parents start running. It's great. It's like a wave of bystanders that just start running to the next checkpoint to hopefully see their kid run through. From 2020 to 2021, cross country membership grew by 20%.
This is at Mishawaka?
At Mishawaka.
Okay, nice.
Yep. So I want to do that again. I want to do that every year. And like I said, it's a hard sell. You have to have a good attitude, really be motivated to do it. So making it desirable, and it wouldn't help to start winning a couple of competitions. We're kind of a mid-pack school right now. There's been some success in the past, but things are changing, man. Things are changing. I will say that the head coach right now for cross country, he's been the head coach at Mishawaka for the past 20 plus years, but he's been coaching for a long time. He was at Clay before that. He was a cross country runner himself. He has done a fantastic job over the last 20 years building that environment to where it's such a welcoming and safe place to be. I'm just trying to expand on that. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. And again, I'm very aware that I'm not the head coach. So I can only have so much impact. I'm trying to be, before I can be a good head coach or even a head coach candidate, I have to be a great assistant coach.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm working on right now. I want to be a great assistant coach.
Now, I do want to talk about financial independence. When I think about financial conversations I've had, you personally have really helped me in the organization and the long-term view. What's the best financial advice you've ever been given?
I would say it's one of two or three things. One would be, first of all, spend less than you make. The way to save money, and this isn't groundbreaking news, is to not spend it. So if you get paid, don't spend it all. And then the next time you get paid, don't spend it all again. And take that extra money that you didn't spend and just put it away and just keep doing that and forget about it and have some willpower to be able to say, I don't want to live like this anymore. I would like there to be a light at the end of the tunnel. And then you have to create that light at the end of the tunnel. The other one would be, if you don't understand it, then don't participate in it.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's probably
awesome. A lot of people lose money because they're just trying to hit these long shots. If you do your research, that eliminates all the stress out of investing in something. So if you don't understand it, stay away from it.
The things that we wish we knew back in the day, okay, that we talk about all the time, we're almost 40. If we would have known this stuff, we would be almost 30 talking about retiring at 40.
Yeah.
So where do you start?
Well, you already said it. I started with Dave Ramsey.
Okay.
I didn't know much about finances at all. I had a credit card with a $200 limit, and I was just kind of riding that thing,
Maxing out your Nextel bill?
Exactly. Yeah. But I was introduced to Dave Ramsey, which is a program that has been going for decades now. Probably late 80s, I think, maybe 90s, 2000s, 2010s. He's still going. So I started listening to him, and because I had no knowledge about anything, he was a fantastic onboarding educator for money. Now, I will say that if you have kind of a basic understanding of finances, then you won't benefit from Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey is for people who don't get it, and he educates you on how to structure your life, financial life at least. And you don't have to agree with everything he says. Just get in the conversation. I think that Dave Ramsey is a fantastic place to start for people who don't understand it. And also, even if you do understand it, it's a good idea to go back and recap everything. The thing with Dave Ramsey, one of his quotes was, telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went.
Wow, that's a good quote.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. Budgeting is. Everybody thinks being on a budget is something that poor people do. Actually, every person that I know who's living well lives on a budget.
Yeah.
It's just the way to be. And I'm sorry if you go and write down a budget and you find out that you can't afford that lifestyle that you've been charging to your credit card.
Give me a couple financial life hacks. What's something easy that somebody can do that they didn't even know about?
House hacking is one, first of all. And I think that I wish that all of us would have done this when we were in our early 20s. Hunter did this. He had our friends live with him and pay his house off, which is exactly what house hacking is buying a house, living there rent-free while other people pay it off for you. So what I would do, honestly, is if I were a first-time home buyer and I'm young, I'm targeting a duplex or I'm targeting a triplex because I'm going to live in one of those units and I'm going to rent the other two out. So I'm on site to do maintenance and I'm on site to, have an eye on everything. I'm also not paying to be there because my renters are paying my mortgage. And then when time goes on long enough to where I've either paid that house off or I've got enough in equity to where I can buy another one, that's what I'm doing.
Nice.
House hacking one, and I'm filling. So if I have a duplex and I live on one side and my renter lives on the other side, 2 or 3 years go by and I've been financially intelligent about everything. So I've planned for my next move and I want to buy another house, either a single family home for me or another duplex or another triplex or whatever. Then I'm moving out of the original duplex and I'm renting out that second unit. So now I have 2 renters in the duplex instead of 1. And now they're both paying me to live there. And if I finagle it correctly, then they're not only paying the mortgage on that duplex, or maybe it's paid off, they're now chipping away at the mortgage on my house.
Okay.
All right. And then I'm just doing that again and again and again.
Yeah.
Yep. Until I get 5 to 10 of them. There are some friends that we have that are our age that have been doing this for 10 or 15 years. And once you get past a certain point, 4 units, 5 units, even single family homes, it's all gravy after that. I mean, if you can do some of the work or you can contract the work out, maybe you have a property manager or you have a property maintenance handyman on call to handle all those issues, then you're hitting your stride and you're just hitting cruise control at that point.
Now you've also, you've got a house that's near the Notre Dame area. So you also talk to me about Airbnb as well. So how does that? So if somebody were to buy a house, would it be lucrative for them if they had the means?
Location, man. It's all about location. So since the Edison house, the one that I bought when I came back from Iraq, since the house is so close to Notre Dame, then it's easy to rent out as an Airbnb.
Right.
Now, if there's a house over in Elkhart or Osceola or even Southside Mishawaka, what's around there that's going to attract somebody to come stay? That would more be long-term rentals, 12-month lease, 24-month lease, that you would typically want like a widow to live there with her 3 cats or his 3 cats. First of all, I'm having fun right now.
Are you?
Yes.
I'm glad.
This is nice.
Yeah,
I like this.
Yeah.
I think that I wanted to say it earlier, but this is long overdue.
Yeah.
This podcast for you. And I think that the timing is perfect, but I think it's long overdue.
Well,
I tuned into your first episode and I couldn't stop listening from the first second until I had to shut it off because I was at work, and then I finished immediately after that. But I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be doing this, and I'm looking forward to the next episode.
Well, thanks,
and
man.
whoever's going to be on here. And but yeah, I'm just having fun.
They say you find your passion when you're working for hours and you don't notice it. I mean, just the 15 hours I spent editing was, I didn't even think about it. Like, I loved it. It was awesome. And the amount of people, the support I've gotten have been, like, I had one of my top 5 best days of my life on Wednesday. When
cool.
Nobody said anything bad. Everybody said good stuff.
Nice.
I saw, over 300 views. I'm not here for the amount of viewers or the money or anything like that. But when you do something, you put your time, your heart, and your soul into it, and then when it works, I mean, I'm like, for lack of better terms, I'm like, fuck, this is awesome.
Yes.
I mean, it's. So, I mean, I'm glad I'm glad it turned out the way it is, and I'm glad that the people are supporting it.
Yeah.
So that's what I really like. And
so you got people asking to be on?
I'm booked up through most of April.
You gonna tell us?
All of April.
You gonna tell us who's coming?
No.
Oh,
so
okay.
Craig Zion, if you're listening, please stop telling people. Yeah, Justin told me you leaked.
Craig is awesome, man.
No, I mean we have an awesome support group, and I think it's going to be cool when this adapts to different things. To having.
I want to be on for the Festivus episode. Bring me back, and I'm just ranting.
Oh yeah.
Why are iPad Minis so small? Make it bigger. Call it an iPad.
But no, and I definitely want to thank you, for.
You're welcome.
For the information that you give, because I will say, and I don't, I don't toot people's horns for no reason, because people have given me some bad advice. But I think, when I think about the advice you give, is you don't give financial advice. You've never said, Kyle, take this money, do that. You almost have said, Kyle, slow down now. Because you know me. You're like, you did what again?
Right.
So, but that's me, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But,
and when it comes to investing, and especially nowadays investing, with our generation and the younger generation, where they're kind of moving away from the treasury, the bonds and the ETFs, the standards that everybody has been preaching for so long, that are not volatile, but they're kind of a safe 2 to 5% per year. And people are getting into crypto, and that's super volatile, but they think that they can throw their money in it and become a millionaire pretty quickly.
I agree with that statement.
All we hear are the stories of people who do that.
Well, yeah, you never hear the stories of the guy that lost all his money gambling.
Right.
You hear the stories about the guy that hit gambling. What he doesn't tell you is that the year before he lost $100,000. But,
exactly.
No, but I remember saying to you, I feel like I missed the boat on Bitcoin.
That's exactly what you said.
So I'd rather.
And there's like one thing that everyone says when they first see Bitcoin's price, is they say, "Oh, well, I think I missed the boat on that." And that's exactly what you said. Now, I will say, I'm no expert. I just happened to mention it, to you at some point, probably before some of the other people had been mentioning it as frequently as I was mentioning it.
Well before.
So for the people who do know about Bitcoin and what it is and all that, I will say that I still would only allocate 5 to 10% of your portfolio to it because it's so volatile. Now, that having said that, I could have bought Bitcoin way before I did, but I didn't understand it. And because I was following that advice of don't get into it if you don't understand it, I saved a lot of money. I wanted to go all in at the end of 2017, and now all in would have been a couple $1,000s, at that point. Because I didn't hear about it until it was in the news.
Right.
Until
2017, when everyone
not even really in the mainstream news. It was like, hey, a bunch of cats are getting rich. And I'm like, hey, I want to be rich. So I started looking into it, and it was actually, end of 2017, beginning of 2018, right before it tanked, and went into that crypto winter for 2 or 3 years. I spent that entire time researching and learning about it. And for the people who do know about it, and they have a very good knowledge base about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin especially, I will tell you that I can't hold a conversation with someone on like a master's or a doctorate level when it
Right.
comes to that.
Right.
But I've spent thousands of hours researching and reading about it. I've read the Bitcoin Standard. I've read the bullish case for Bitcoin. I interact every day on Reddit with the cryptocurrency member group and engaging conversations. I watch podcasts. I watch YouTube. I listen to podcasts. I try to educate myself about it, and it's just too good to not be involved. You know, like the potential is too great to not have your bait in the water.
So, ever since and again, the stuff you've showed me, the sites you've showed me, you are right. You know, we have information at our fingertips. The problem is that there's a lot that's wrong and BS. Mm-hmm. And I will say a little fun fact, the guy you tell me, the Modern Investor, I love how he gets in there. He's like, well, welcome to today. Here's all the BS that they're talking about.
Yeah.
But now that I've known more about Bitcoin, I know what it is. I understand it a little bit more. Now, again, if it goes to zero, whatever, hey, that's something I did. That's something, but whatever. I don't think it will, but but regardless, it's to a point where it made sense how you. That's why I say crypto for kids.
Yeah.
Because I said crypto for kids because I feel like that's how you felt.
It's really not a thing.
No, it's not at all. He's not a host, but yeah, you technically are. Because the first couple times you sat down with me and Wiz, we just looked at you, just going, yeah. And I look at that though, and I look, fast forward 6 months now, and you know what, I've been able to invest because I took a lot of time off.
Yep.
And I was like, hey, I want to spend some money, I want to go vacation, and a lot of stuff it didn't make sense, and I was like, I could spend this time investing. Well, I remember apologizing to you, going, man, the dumb stuff that people say about Bitcoin,
right?
But I go, damn, I said that.
Yes,
and
so did I.
Only because it's so much easier to find nonsense than to find an answer.
Yep.
Until you really dive into it, it doesn't make sense. But the easiest way that you can explain, I don't mean all of crypto.
It's evolved over time. So it came out in 2009. Mm-hmm. People don't know it's like 12 or 13 years old. And it kind of was just a project by this group of individuals who were trying to perfect the electronic currency system. And since the 80s, it has been routinely worked on and failed. Project after project. Started, failed. And what failed? Why did it fail? The reason it failed was because there was always a central authority. Now, when people talk about Bitcoin, they say that Bitcoin is decentralized, and people are like, oh, okay, that's a big word, and no one really knows what it means. The creator or creators of Bitcoin vanished. They're gone. It's either one individual or a bunch of individuals. But because they created Bitcoin, set it off on its, like, kind of set it and forget it type, you're off into the world now. Because they vanished, it is completely decentralized. There is no one person that can stop it. And since 2009, it has grown to right now, it's like, what, $40,000 per one Bitcoin? I'm just here for the ride. I like it. It's exciting. It makes investing exciting. Everything else is boring. You got a Roth IRA? Boring.
If you're in the market, you're down 40%.
if you've got a treasury bond, you're making 1 or 2%.
Thankfully, I invested in the ruble.
If you've got really anything that's not super volatile is boring, right? But some people like boring. I mean, and that's why I say 5 to 10% of your portfolio would be sufficient for you. That buys you a ticket to ride. You watch what's happening. You should have a buffer of other investments, such as your house. If you're a homeowner, then you have your house. Then that's an investment. People don't realize a house isn't just the place you live. That's an investment. So if you've got your 401k or your 403b at work, and you've got an IRA, and you've got a little bit of savings here, and you've got a house, or maybe you don't, maybe you have a car, maybe you don't, maybe throw some more into that. So throw some more into your investment portfolio. See what you can build. See what makes you money. But always remember that you should take profits.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't take profits. And the whole hold forever or hodl or the terminology used today, that's great. That's a hive mind. True. If you hold forever, then you'll never lose any money. But get into the
No, I a couple stocks that went out of business. You lose. Yeah. They just tell you that your stuff's gone.
and that could happen to crypto.
Because this is a question that I think that you'll have a pretty good answer for it. I know that you sure will. What are some of the questions you get, or what are some of the biggest misconceptions about Bitcoin? And you can go as outlandish as you need.
That it's a fake internet currency that is only for drug dealers or people doing illegal activity. That it can be duplicated. That it's manipulated and controlled. Those are all kind of the heavy hitters. One, it can't be duplicated.
Right.
Think of everybody who has a computer and it's connected to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has the same Word document open.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as someone changes that Word document, every other computer has to verify that that was a correct change. And if it's not correct, then that transaction is canceled or will not go through. So you would need the entire global internet to go down for the Bitcoin network to go down. And it's not monitored by one person. There's no on-off switch. You can't right-click, copy, paste. Everything is a public ledger that is accessible at any time, so where everybody can see what's going on.
If I'm trying to do illegal activity, why would I want what I'm doing to be permanently locked and seen forever?
It's anonymous because it's anonymous. I mean, anything with cash, with gold, with Bitcoin, I mean, anything can be traded for different things. It doesn't really, the context of what was purchased or what it was traded for is not documented. It's just this transaction happened.
But the money's never lost, though. It's always accounted for because it's on the blockchain.
Public ledger. The blockchain. Okay. Yeah. So if you try to make a fraudulent transaction, it's going to be declined. Because one, you have to own the private keys to the Bitcoin. Yeah, it's like the password that allows you to accept the transaction or to make the transaction. And if you don't know the private keys to your own Bitcoin, it's gone forever. So fragile.
So let me ask this then. Okay, so our inflation almost 8%. Okay.
Yep.
You can never make more Bitcoin, right?
Correct.
There's only
a fixed amount,
21 million or so. So that's it.
Yeah.
Now,
what's happening here? What's happening with the Bitcoin world is right now. So there's 21 million Bitcoin that's ever going to be available, and you hear about Bitcoin miners, and what the Bitcoin miners are doing is they're just confirming transactions. They're making the transaction. So if I send you some Bitcoin, that has to be confirmed on the public ledger, on the blockchain, that transaction took place, and it has to match up with everybody else's ledger for that to be an accurate transaction.
So that's what a miner is not. Again,
a miner is making that confirmation.
So they're not actually sitting there digging. You know what I'm saying? No. Like looking for loose Bitcoin. They're verifying these transactions. And by doing so, they get a portion of Bitcoin in return.
Yep. All the Bitcoin is not out and available for everybody. It will be distributed routinely on a schedule until the year 2140.
What happens when it's done? Who's going to be verifying transactions if you're not getting paid for it?
Everybody's going to be verifying transactions, and the reward will be the transaction fee.
Okay, so it's not going to stop.
No.
Okay, because that's what I think. I was concerned. All these miners say I've been doing it for 10 years, and I'm sitting on 10 Bitcoin, and then if you're no longer getting paid for it, would all those miners just sell?
No, the miners would then just be
just
accumulating fees through the transaction.
Okay.
Yeah. With me having a couple 1,000 hours into this, I'm still a novice. And that's one of the biggest barriers to entry is just the whole, how does it work? Mm-hmm. Why does it work? Why is it here? But don't get me wrong, I enjoy real estate way more than I enjoy crypto.
But now Bitcoin's returns based on yearly versus real estate is
about 200% over the last 10 years. It's the best performing asset in the history of assets.
okay. That's kind of what I'm looking for. And again, we're not talking about since last year. We're talking about
2009. I think 2010 was the first transaction, and that was when the pizza
was
bought.
bought.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, like Bitcoin was just kind of this thing that people had, and they were like, "Okay, cool, we have Bitcoin." And back in 2010 or 2011, some guy on a forum was like, "Hey, I will pay someone 10,000 Bitcoin, 10,000 Bitcoin, not $10,000 in Bitcoin, 10,000 Bitcoin to buy me 2 pizzas." You know, the guy was in San Francisco, I think, and the other guy was on the East Coast, and he said, "Yeah, I'll just order 2 Papa John's pizzas for you online or on the phone and send them to your house. You transfer 10,000 Bitcoin to me." At that time, it was like $40. And that was the first transaction. So that gave it a monetary value.
So the first transaction, I don't know the math on it, but is that $800 million, or am I way off with that number?
Now?
10,000 Bitcoin times, let's call Bitcoin 40,000.
40,000. Let's see. Let me get a calculator times.
Or is that 1.2 billion?
That's 400 million.
400 million.
Yeah.
I went to Adams. They didn't teach us math. So he got 2 pizzas.
2 pizzas.
400 million.
Well,
now,
yeah. 400 million right now.
When Bitcoin went up double, he would have sold the Bitcoin.
Exactly.
So it's not like everybody's holding on forever, but
yeah.
So let me ask you this. So this
but the exciting thing about it is that since then it's just been speculated upon, like, oh, this Bitcoin, and then it was used in the Silk Road to just anonymously buy drugs on the dark net, and that's where it became associated with illegal activity. And since then, anyway, it's been just kind of in a constant state of adoption in the whole world, honestly.
So one of the questions I get all the time is people say, "Oh, well, they lump Bitcoin in with your Shiba, your skeet shooting come rugged blast, or what all these different cryptos that people make up."
Mm-hmm.
But let's say that what's the difference in me buying that or Dogecoin or something else other than Bitcoin? Well, what is the difference?
Bitcoin's decentralized. At any time, the Doge network or the Shiba network or the Ethereum network or any of those coins can be manipulated or altered because there's a developer or a developing team working on them. Bitcoin has been running since 2009. There's no central authority. There's no one to say, okay, now we're going to do this. You could put a layer 2 on it or a layer 3 on it, but the Bitcoin network is just it's not going down. No one's watching it. No one is. I mean, I don't want to say no one's watching it. No one's running it.
No one needs to watch it.
Right.
It's like,
and that's why what you saw in the news this month with the Ukraine and Russian war is that the ruble is gone down to nothing. People are sending Bitcoin to Ukraine and to Russia, not to the Russian government, I don't think, but to Russian civilians. Mm-hmm. Because Bitcoin is a currency that you can just quickly send for low fees, and it's worth a lot more.
So if I send you, okay, you live in Russia, if I send you the US dollar, it doesn't matter because it's going to have to get transferred into whatever you're looking at there. So
yeah,
but
and plus the United States has shut down all transactions for the US dollar with Russia.
If a currency that has been alive forever fails, it's almost been proven that Bitcoin...
So the thing about Bitcoin is that it's already a fact that it will exist forever.
Yeah.
Current man-made currencies like the U.S. dollar. The U.S. dollar has only been around for 250 years. Gold and silver have been around for the longest, but then you talk about portability and how can you
couldn't you find some, you could be digging and, oh no, look, we found a place that has 1 million pounds of gold.
Yeah.
So there's no end of what gold could be.
Right. That's the thing about Bitcoin. It's finite.
Right.
There's a fixed amount, and as what I said, the price goes up because of adoption. And the more people that start to acquire Bitcoin, the higher the price is going to go because it's a simple supply and demand. Mm-hmm. If there's a high demand for it, guess what? There's a fixed supply. we saw last year and in 2020 that stimulus checks kept coming out and the government kept just producing more U.S. dollars. And I think 25% of the U.S. dollar amount in circulation right now was printed in 2020 and 2021. I mean,
that's bananas.
So they're just creating more to put a Band-Aid on the economic boo-boo.
By printing more money, that just makes the cost of things go up, though.
Inflation.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you...
So $50 in 1900 would buy you a ton of stuff. You could feed a family and for months. $50 in 1950, you could feed a family for a couple of weeks. $50 in 2000, you might get a week, with a family of 3. $50 today, what can you get? And it's just been the last couple of years, it's gone up so much. So $50 hasn't changed. It's just what it is able to buy. What's the purchasing power of $50?
Mm-hmm.
Now, in 2009, 10,000 Bitcoin bought 2 pizzas. Today, 10,000 Bitcoin is $400 million.
You could probably scoop up a couple islands.
Yeah, and the more that it's taken off of the centralized exchanges, the markets, it's just creating higher demand. Or, I'm sorry, it's lowering the supply. So anytime demand spikes, it's going to go up.
So it's coming up on a year of me actually looking at investments every day. About a year ago, right around now, I got my computer and I was like, I want to look at, if you spend 2 to 3 hours every single day on any subject, in 3 years, you can be an expert because you've spent the time.
Yep.
What I'm seeing, by the companies I'm following, the most profitable companies right now are either vocally explaining how much Bitcoin they're sitting on and continually buying, or they're taking all of the available left, putting this onto their balance sheet, and then getting to say, yeah, by the way, we also own 10,000 Bitcoin. So you can look at a company and say, damn, if that trend continues, when do you think, or do you think, there'll be a time where the inventory runs out of available to be purchased?
I think that, and there's no shortage of people on YouTube that would tell you that, Bitcoin's going to $1 million.
Yeah, 100,000 by Thursday.
Exactly. If it gets to the point where the institutions are starting to fight over a Bitcoin because it is a safe asset and it is finite and its portability is just infinite because you can move $1 billion of Bitcoin with one keystroke. Mm-hmm. You can't move $1 billion worth of gold or stocks without.
You can't move 11,500 to sell a vehicle. By the way, if someone lives out of state, so yeah.
Yeah. Then it's just going to be an arms race to see who can acquire it more. And if you're a holder of Bitcoin, then you're going to benefit from that. If you're not, then you're going to be on the sidelines watching. There's always the opportunity or the possibility that would go to zero. So that's why I say, do not invest anything that you can't afford to lose. Because when I invest, especially in a volatile asset like that, I write that money off immediately. It's gone. I either spent $100 on Bitcoin or I spent $100 on Amazon. It's the same type of thing. When I buy it, the money's gone.
Yeah.
If it turns into something later, cool. If it doesn't, then I paid a valuable lesson. I paid a lot of money for a valuable lesson.
Right. When regulation comes out, because I think you said to me, hey, we'd love to see some type of just crypto in general regulation. If regulation happens, what is it? How's it going to benefit? And what are some things that might come out of regulation?
The institutions are waiting for the regulations to come out so it can all be legit, and so they can make money on it. In today's world, with everything so public, nobody wants to be the first person to get burned publicly. So they're kind of waiting. Now, Elon Musk, when he put $1 billion or $1.5 billion into Bitcoin, what's that? That's less than 1% of his net worth. That's 1% of his net worth. That wasn't even his money. I mean, he does say that he has personal Bitcoin himself, but that's Tesla's money. Mm-hmm. He put Tesla's money into Bitcoin, and he put like 1% of it in there. So he's willing to take risks.
No, because even you think, and only 1% is still a billion.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
no, I mean that's interesting because a lot of the conversations I've had around crypto blows me away. I mean, and I totally understand it because
And people don't have a lot of spare money.
right, and
to
especially if
invest.
you're. But my thing is that the people that will make their presence known the loudest against Bitcoin is the ones that are blowing their money on nonsense.
People that make accusations or bold statements against it couldn't tell you what it is.
Yeah.
They don't know what it is or how it works. The people who research it, understand it, read about it, and I don't mean read a couple articles or read a book.
Right.
Get into the community. Start engaging with some of these people. The people that really understand it, every one of them is like, oh, I'm going to get some of this because I can see where this is going. I can see how this is going to play out. There are not many people that understand it and are still against it.
Yeah. And I think that it's funny that Warren Buffett didn't buy Bitcoin, but he
Proxy.
But,
yeah. But I would say this. If you are a homeowner who has a good chunk of equity and doesn't have a lot of debt, then you're sitting pretty. Try to learn about it before you start throwing money at it.
Yeah, when you showed me a couple people that you were following, and because man, it is hard.
You got to understand it.
I bought so much goddamn Safe Moon. You hear what I just said right now? Safe Moon.
I knew when you bought that.
It was awesome, man. It was $800, bro. I can cash out now about 7. So, but that's one of those things where. That's crazy about it is that people are willing to, the same people that don't have enough money to invest into something that might take some extra time to research and look into, but they're quick to drop money on that. And I think, if anything, I hope that people got out of this that just a little bit of info is all I want. No, I'm glad we had that conversation. I don't want to, again, I'm not trying to cram crypto down people's throats, but it's one of those things when I learn, when the facts are put in front of you, it's hard to run from the truth. Because crypto's crypto, but...
Just a never-evolving asset class, and it's fun to watch.
Well, they say cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money, dollar bills, you all. I believe that was Wu-Tang. And I really wish, man, everybody that's listening could listen to you talk like our 2 hours. We're having our Crypto for Kids meeting tomorrow,
Yeah.
He makes us wear bibs when we go to Hacienda, and don't touch his ranch. Don't you get any hot sauce in my ranch.
Don't you touch my ranch at all. I paid for that. That's mine. I want all of it. When are you going to have Nick Wizzy Wazoric
He keeps saying, I'm going to bring the dogs. And I keep saying, no,
Can't have the dogs on.
Because you can't ride them because people freak out if you ride their dogs. But I like to always end these things with a great story of us.
No pressure.
Oh, I mean, hey.
See, you're asking me all these important questions. I don't
There's
know
an award for best story.
if you've even made it this far. Story of hilarity. So the first thing that comes to mind when you say a story of us is I close my eyes and I think of a couple of different things. Kind of a slideshow of my life with Kyle pops through the years in my head. StarTAC 9000. Oh, you know what StarTAC 9000 means if I say that to you?
It means I'm paging you and picking you up out back.
Exactly. So when we first met...
876 something.
When we first met, we were in high school, right? And we became really good friends. I could have done the sharks and whales. I could have done really any. Oh yeah, any
you'll
story.
Be on for more episodes. Footnote: forgot about sharks and whales.
But Kyle had his license and a car, and the freedom of some parents that would allow him to be out later than my parents would allow me to be out.
Especially when he was grounded.
So when we were in, I think the summer between sophomore and junior year, or junior and senior year, one of those years, my dad had a cell phone. It was a StarTAC 9000. It was a Motorola. And this is back in 98 or 99. And it was like $2 a minute if you used the cell phone. There was no texting. There was no... people probably don't remember the StarTAC. Anyway, we would be hanging out on a summer night, weekend night, didn't matter. My parents wanted me home, and my keys had to be in the spot where my keys were to be by the time I was supposed to be home. And after that, I was in for the night. So we would be out somewhere, and Kyle would say, it would be like 9:30 or 9:45, and I had to be home maybe at 10 o'clock. And Kyle would be like, "What are you doing later, man?" I'm like, "Later? What do you mean? I'm getting in my jammies. I'm getting a handful of flavor blasted goldfish. I'm going to bed, son. What are you talking about? What am I doing later?" You're like, "Oh no, let's go over here. Pat's having this going on, or there's a fire over by this. So let's go there, and they got some. Let's go do this." I'm like, "Well, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to go home in about 30, 45 minutes, and I'm going to page you. When I page you, you call me. When I answer, you're going to come pick me up at the corner of Colfax and Westwood. That's it. Let's not talk. Just page, pick up, and let's go hang out." And you're like, all right.
Keep them heads lights up.
So I would have to ensure, Mom, Dad, they're probably going to listen to this. I would have to, and Dad knows.
He should.
Yes.
He probably looked at his phone and goes, "Well,
that's exactly.
Your boy made a call."
That's exactly what happened. Because everything, he printed it out. Yeah. He printed out. He came home from work one day. And he was like, "I got some phone calls here around 11:03, 11:05. You know anything about this?" I'm like, "What? No." Anyway, I would page Kyle with my dad's StarTech 9000 cell phone number. He would call it back. I would be in the basement with the phone under a pillow. I'd answer it on the first ring. I'd say, "Yep, pick me up." I'd sneak out of the house. Kyle would pick me up, and then we'd go do what? I have no idea what we would do.
We would drive around. I had a system and Black and Mild. So we were cool. At the time it was like, dude, smoking cigars, rolling around,
just hanging out, listening
to Tyrese. I remember you go, "Please, you and Pat, please shut off the R&B. I don't care what you play."
You were so into R&B. It was weird.
You'd hate when I sang to you. It got weird.
That's what I think of. Going back to the beginning of our friendship, that was in the early days. I wasn't allowed out that late. You were, so you would pick me up, and we would go hang out. And always been one of my best friends, and it's been a long time. A lot of life has been lived since then. Now we're on a podcast in your living room. Jeez.
So I do want to do one thing though. Before we go, let's pop the shirts off, man. Let's do a little call it slide by.
Yeah.
No, so why don't before we go, I definitely want to take a sec and have. Who are some people that you follow online? You mentioned Dave Ramsey, which also I'll leave in the link to some of these people. But,
sure. So here's exactly what I would say. If following people, I wouldn't even suggest following somebody on Twitter. I would suggest going and just getting into conversations about anything that you're interested in. And Reddit is a good place for that. Get on Reddit if you want to talk about financial independence, and go to the financial independence subreddit. If you want to talk about cryptocurrency, go to the cryptocurrency subreddit. If you want to talk about the Las Vegas Raiders, go to the Raiders subreddit. Just start engaging in conversations with people. Ask questions. The biggest thing about the internet is if you make a statement, you're going to hear about it. If it's incorrect, you're going to be corrected pretty quickly. Dialogue is what I would suggest for people.
Nice.
Yes.
Well, good deal, man. Well, we're at 2 hours. You think it'd make 2 hours?
Jeez, man, I could keep going.
No, well,
you haven't heard any of my jokes.
No, I tried to cancel all those out. But no, Manny, I'm glad to have you on, honestly, and I really wanted, today to be about, people listening in that maybe somebody's in your spot. Maybe they have a passion to be a coach, or maybe they're, maybe somebody's listening in that they're young and they're like, damn, you know what, man, I got to get out of my mom's house and maybe buying a duplex. That's a smart idea, and financial independence it's as easy as just don't spend money you don't have.
Yep.
Don't invest everything you have into one thing.
Yep.
Make your money work for you.
Get a second job.
Yeah.
Work more when you can. Our buddy Craig Zion. Zion.
That's Craig Zion. I think that's like 11 times we've said his name on here.
Craig Zion.
Craig
introduced the idea of just taking sabbaticals.
That's what I'm here for.
You're doing it right now.
I took it from Craig
My
Zion.
Gosh. What a great Craig Zion idea.
What a great Craig Zion. No, but it is awesome, though, to be able to be... Because, you see a lot of people like 65 is a rough age, man. If I'm 65 and I then get to spend my millions, what am I spending it on? But no, man, no. Good talk.
It's a little bit more serious than I thought it was going to be.
Glad to have you here. I'm sure we'll have you on a few more times.
How many times?
You probably get one more.
All right.
It's the smell, I think, is what it is. I brought my. Well, everybody, hey, thank you very much for tuning in.
My shout-outs.
Yeah. I almost forgot. All right, so now this is the shout-out time. Justin, please enjoy shout-outs.
If I were to give out one shout-out, it would be Jessica Featheroff. Jamie and I absolutely love her. I feel like I was robbed of a friendship with her.
Yeah.
Just when she and Jamie were starting to get to know each other, they moved.
Yeah.
And ever since they moved, I only see them sporadically. But Jessica Featheroff is my shout-out.
Yeah,
I hope you're doing great today, Jessica.
Yes, and I hope you're listening to this. You just got called out, like I think 6 times. It's close to Craig Zion numbers. So, Jess, you got to be happy for those numbers.
Yes. Wait a minute. Can I give another shout-out?
For crying out loud. Yeah, get at it.
Let's see. Who else would I want to shout out? The original crew. So it takes me back to the StarTAC 9000 days. I want to shout out Ryan Gannon.
RTG.
I want to shout out Anthony Curtis.
Big Kurds.
Pat Lawson Austin.
Colors Lawson.
I'm missing somebody. Billy White. That whole... And you know what? Doug Merrill. I wonder what Doug's doing right now.
I talked to him yesterday on Instagram, and he's going to be on here.
Really?
Oh, he's been in the restaurant industry for 20 years, man.
Oh,
he's been in every... I would love to sit and just talk for a while about
Doug.
His stories, dude.
Yes.
He has seen everything. He served Regis Philbin one time.
I want to be in the room when he does the podcast so I can watch him.
Well, I still got his coat.
Okay. Doug is so funny. I hope he's doing well. Doug, I hope you're doing well, my friend. Anyway, those are my shout-outs.
Nice. Wait, again, everybody, I really hope
Should I shout out my wife? Jamie Hembrecht.
Did you forget her first name?
No, I just said it.
Is it Jeremiah?
Oh, that's interesting.
Before we go, so Bagel Bites used... I'm just
Jesus
Christ. We'll save that one for next episode. Yeah. Awesome. No, man, I had a blast. Over 2 hours. I assumed it'd be over 2 hours. I think we could have gone for 4 or 5. But I really appreciate the time. And
thank you, sir. Had fun.
Absolutely. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Make sure you listen, share with your friends. Appreciate it. And thank you for listening to another episode of The KQ Show.